I took the medical college admission test. And then on August 23rd, I purchased my first real estate investment property. It was a small condo that I purchased out of foreclosure. A few years prior, it had sold for a little bit over $150,000. And then, like many properties, it went through foreclosure. The banks couldn't sell it. And it was listed on sale for $8,400. That was the total price of the condo. So I came in with an offer of $4,000 because I don't know how this real estate investing stuff works. And we went back and forth with the bank. The bank said, we'll sell it to you for $7,000. I tried to negotiate them even lower. And then the bank said that they had another offer on the table. So now it's a bidding war. And I had to offer my highest and best price. So I said, I'm willing to offer $8,000 to buy the condo, no more. And they accepted my bid. So I purchased this condo for $8,000. I put in a few $1,000s worth of work. And then I rented it out for $600 a month. And now I start to question things. Why did nobody tell me about this? This condo is putting money into my pocket without me having to do something because I own this asset. We're all taught to trade our time for dollars. We're all taught to work to get paid because that's what we're taught to do. But wealthy people are not working for a bigger salary. They're working for more assets because that can continue to pay you even when you're not working. And that's that shift. When I saw that, that really sparked a fire under me and really made me angry. And I don't know why I got so angry, but I got angry because I felt like I was checking all the boxes. I was doing good in school. I bust my butt in school. I was going to do all the right things, become a doctor, and do everything that I was told. But what I didn't realize is those boxes weren't my boxes. Who created these boxes? And why is there this whole world of financial education that we're never taught? Because if this is how wealthy people build and grow their wealth, why is everybody else not taught this?
So I want to make a distinction here. Are you saying that in order to build wealth, people should buy a house?
No. If you want to build wealth, you have to buy assets. When people say buy a house, what does that mean to most people's eyes? It means buy my home.
Yeah.
I want to buy this nice place for me to live.
Which is what most people do when they get a bit of money. They take their salary from work and then they go and buy a house to live in and then they pay into the mortgage, which means that they are now building an asset, right?
They're building what many people call generational wealth, which is one of the biggest lies when it comes to money. The reason why is because your house is actually a money pit. And that's why I want you to think of your house as a liability. But I want you to hear me clearly. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy a house. I'm not saying it's bad to buy a house. You have to treat your house like a liability. This suit that I'm wearing is a liability. This watch is a liability. My shoes are liabilities. Should I not buy them? No. I got to make sure I can afford them. So when people think about buying a house, what do they think of? They think, I'm going to build generational wealth. I'm going to build wealth. I'm going to pay it off. And I'm going to be able to have more freedom in my life because I can own this house. Let's go with the best case scenario. You buy a home for, let's call it $300,000. You pay it off. And throughout your lifetime, this $300,000 home grows in value to $1 million. And now you're going to say, Jaspreet, I showed you this is an asset. My house tripled in value, more than tripled in value, and now I'm going to pass it down to my kids. So now, yeah, your kid's got $1 million house, but unless they have the income to support paying for $1 million house, they might have to find some more cash. Now what do they do? Because you can't just pull cash out of this house, right? I mean, it's not an ATM unless you go to the bank. The bank will give you the cash because the bank says, oh, you have $1 million house. How about we loan you $800,000? But that's not an ATM because you have to pay that money back plus interest. And now unless your kids have the income to pay for the property tax, to pay for the insurance, to pay for the upgrades, to pay for the maintenance and the mortgage, they can't afford that house. So maybe now they have to sell. Okay, now you sell it. You got $1 million. Great. We're not even going to talk about taxes right now. But you got $1 million. You're rich. But if they don't have any financial education and you have $1 million, what's going to happen? Well, let's think about this. If you had $1 million, what would you do with it? If I went down the street and I asked the average person, if I wrote you a check for $1 million today, what would you do? What are people going to say? I'm going to go to the Bahamas. I'm going to buy myself a nice house. I'm going to buy myself a nice car, buy myself some nice clothes, go to the Gucci store, go to the Louis Vuitton store, and buy myself the extra guac at Chipotle. That's what the average person will do. Now, maybe you're a little bit more financially smart. You say, I'm just going to live off of $50,000 a year. But after 20 years, you have nothing left. Not to mention the fact that 10 years from now, that $50,000 a year lifestyle is going to buy you half of what it can today. So now let's go back to that situation. You thought you built generational wealth. You did a good thing about paying off the mortgage because you don't have to pay the mortgage payment. But is that really the type of generational wealth that you want? And now to fully hammer this home, I'm not saying it's bad to own a house. It's actually very great. It's an amazing thing to own your house free and clear because now you can rest assured, you don't have to worry about the mortgage payments. If you have the financial education, that's great. But let's talk about now the real way to do this and build true wealth. When I buy my real estate investment properties and my property values go up, the rental values also go up. The rent is what pays for the maintenance. The rent is what pays for the upgrades. The rent is what's paying for the property taxes and the insurance. The rent is putting money in my pocket. And this is cash flow that I can use. I can use this cash flow to buy a vacation. I can use this cash flow to buy food. I can use this cash flow to pay for my lifestyle. But your house doesn't do that. You have to pay to live in your house.
But people think, they're getting their mortgage payments, they're spending whatever they are, spending on their mortgage payments. They think we're kind of told that mortgage payment is an investment into an asset.
Your mortgage payment is a payment to your bank. Banks are not stupid. In fact, they're very smart. Banks do something called front-loading your mortgage. What that means is if you go out and get a 30-year mortgage, which is what many people do in America, and you pay $3,000 a month on your mortgage, you're not paying $1,500 to your interest, your bank, and $1,500 to your principal, your equity. The way it works is banks front-load your mortgage, which means for the first almost 15 years, it's about 14 years and 8 months or so. But for almost 15 years of your mortgage, the first 15 years, the majority of your mortgage payment is going directly into your banker's pocket in the form of interest. Which means if you're paying $3,000 a month on your mortgage, for the first part of your mortgage, maybe $100 is going out of the $3,000 into your equity. The other $2,900 is going right into your banker's pocket with interest. And now, after 15 years, now half of your mortgage payment is going to your equity and half is going to interest. But if you refinance before that 15-year mark, that starts over. And so this is where banks understand the game. Again, I'm not against buying a house, but you got to understand the game of money. And most people don't understand that. And so the mistake that people make is they buy a house they can't afford, and now they're paying all this money into their mortgage, thinking that I'm building wealth. They no longer have money to save. They no longer have money to invest into other real assets. And their money is just going to pay down their mortgage, thinking that this is going to build my wealth. But you've been sold a lie.